By Kaplan Part 2, please.
It's like I heard on that a muscle from Abtri Meir. He said, does a person have to remember that you have to put on shoes? And once he puts on the shoes, does he have to remind himself to tie the shoes? It's just something natural. It's just something in your nature that you put on the shoes and you tie the shoes. There's no such thing as forgetting. Or could it be that a person should forget to put on his clothes and walk out without clothes, walk out in his pajamas? God, it's not something you have to remind yourself. It's something that it's part of you. That's what it means. Zocher as Yom HaShabbos like that. The day of Shabbos should be part of your being, and that you have to. You can explain it by riches, and that's the union of remembering that Hashem created the world. That's what Shabbos reminds us. So the whole week, you have to live with this memory, this idea that Shabbos is the shorish of the whole week. That should stay in your memory all the time. It should be part of your being. Now, it's possible that every event that happens to a person, it becomes that. I mean, that experience. Everything that happens to you is an experience that you went through. Some things are small experiences. Some things are more serious, more bigger experiences, greater experiences, make more impression. But everything is an experience. If you're a heavyweight, a earth person, every experience that you have becomes stamped on your neshama, on your brain. And it stays in your memory. That means it becomes part of you. And that's like the union of Zohar, Yom HaShabbos. It should be part of your life. And that is what makes that things can't be forgotten. But somebody that is not like that, so things don't get stamped on his brain and his heart and his personality. They just happen like things that float by. But afterwards you can forget them as if it never happened. That's the difference. Now, on one hand, it's better like that. There's such a thing as in Koheles it says Yoshif Das, Yoshif Machov. Somebody that has more Das has more pain. And Dafke uses the word Das. It doesn't say Chochma, it doesn't say Bina. It says Das. Because after a person has Chochma and Bina, L'chora he has everything. What's Das come to add? Das means that the Chochma and the Bina become part of his essence, part of his Matthias. It's like the Chazon Ish says in the second Igeres that you should learn every piece and chazer it over and over and over again. And after, not just for memory, only for a clearer understanding. And once you'll do that, he says, it'll open up the gates of light. Shire Ora will open up. You'll feel a new light in this piece that you learn. And I experienced it many times. I tried it and I experienced it. This is what I'm saying over here. That you can have the learning. You can make it such an experience. You experience this sugya. I mean, you could learn the sugya. You could go over it. It could be. You could gloss over it. But you could also make it, and that's das. Das is doing that. You know it, and you understand it, and you even were mafalpo in it, but it's still not part of you. Das makes that it should mamish become part of you. And that's why what was I saying with Das? What did I start with? That's why. That's why the Chazal say that That Yosef, that's why the pasuk says in Kohelet, Yosef das, Yosef machov. Yosef das, he experiences the thing, he experiences life, that deep experience, a deep feeling of what happens. The experience is that he has become part of his life. So then Yosef machov, he feels more pain. I mean, you hear somebody say something, and it bothers you a little bit what he said, but sometimes you understand why he's saying it, what brings him to say it, and I'm definitely not talking about hatred. I'm not talking about any union of sin between people. I'm talking about somebody said something that hurts. And you understand, it's not, and he didn't, let's say he didn't mean to hurt you, but it still hurts. But you understand the reason that he said it is because he's that kind of person that doesn't bother, doesn't understand what he's saying and think about what he's saying. And he doesn't analyze situations, and he doesn't understand situations, and he doesn't understand how to relate to another person, and he doesn't understand that it's worthwhile having a good relationship to a person. He just shoots out what he said. And as you can hear in my tone of voice, you'll notice that I'm talking about something that happened a few days ago to me. Now, that's Yosef Das, because I didn't just hear the words what he said. I knew the whole background of that person. I know why he said it. And I know what brings him to say it. And it caused me pain. Yosef Das, Yosef Machov. So in a way, it's better to be our airy person and let things float by and not let everything bother you and not take things so seriously. And then you'll be a happier person. That's on one hand. On the other hand, there's the word of the Kotzker said.
Rabbi Kaplan.
Yosef Das, Yosef Machov.
Rabbi Kaplan.
What?
Just let me interrupt a word here about getting to the elements. You say it'd be happier. Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach used to say, I heard him say this, the biggest avera in the world is to be shallow, which is worse than being depressed, according to Carl, who is all earth and no water. Kivot, you might say. Okay, please continue. Hold it.
Well, first of all, he said, I'm pointing out one way of looking at things. I'm not right now trying to lay the rule. I'm not trying to say the rule of how you should be. What you're telling me, this memra, that's a rule. He's saying a rule. Okay, I could agree, I could accept that rule. But right now, it's not what I'm doing. I'm looking at certain sides of things. So I'm saying like this, that the one that's airy, that he doesn't take things so seriously, he has more simcha because things don't bother him. On the other hand, the Kotzker said, Yosef Das, Yosef Machov, but it's Kedai. He just added those two words. It's Kedai. That means it's Yosef Machov, but still to have Das is Kedai. What we have to know, Emes, a big, great person, has a shlita on himself. Moach shalit al alev, and he knows how to use his midas, how to control them, when to use the midah of heaviness, when to use the midah of lightness, and he can control it and let it work according to the way he wants and not according to the way it leads him. The goof, there's such a thing as a goof and there's such a thing as a nefesh habahamis. He just runs the way his teva is. Abar das, abar seichel. He knows, now we have to use this midah, now we have to use that midah. Now we have to be heavy, now we have to be light. But we are very, very far from that. We talk like we're very smart and very intelligent and big Avdei Hashem and big psychologists. But all we are is Balgaivis that we try to make ourselves sound deep. But really big, but when it comes down to science, then we lose ourselves altogether. Somebody just says something, then I fall apart into pieces. And all this talk doesn't really not my kind. I'm not my kind when it comes to Lamais. But still, we have to know all these things. Now, that's one of the reasons why there were people that they remembered Shas, every word and every diuk they remembered, because when they learned, it was so serious to them. They felt such a strong feeling that this Torah Hashem. They say a story that there was a few people, alumni Torah, that they were talking about a certain Maimar Chazal, and they forgot the name of the Bala Maimar. The reason the Rebbe was there, he said, it's this and this, Tanur Amor, right away. They said, why is it that I remember and you don't? Just because by us, when you say Omar Abaye, so Omar is Torah and Abaye is Torah. Is what to get excited about that alone, Omar Abaye. It's Hashem's Torah where Hashem said, Omar Abaye. That's why you remember. When it's so serious, then you remember. The answer to that is to keep remembering this is Torah Hashem. This is what's Nitan in Har Sinai. This Gemara that might look to us like it's there isn't too much to talk on it. I was telling when did I talk about it, last week or 2 weeks ago, that Shmuel said, what's Kaloch? In the Mishnah, in the beginning of Mamad Lincoln, they said, he asked all the Nechusei Yama, those the sailors that travel on the sea, and they told him a certain name of a certain grass. That's Kaloch. So what do you see from here that he said, Shaltina Lakulu Nechusei Yama? I asked all those that they go into the sea, that means all the sailors, I asked, what? No one word in the Mishnah. What is it? Just to know what it is. It's worth going to the port and look, asking all the sailors, did you ever hear of Kaloch? Did you ever hear it? Did you ever hear it? Just get they to understand another word of Torah. That's the way they prepared the palace of Shmuel for that Shabbos. Hashem should help us. We should be zocheh to have some shaykhs to this midah of being a Baal Zikaron.
Amen, amen. Thank you, Rabbi Kaplan.